In the vibrant campus of Polytechnic Nekuda, a charismatic figure emerged, known to many as Sympathy, but affectionately referred to as Chime. As a banking and finance student, Sympathy's academic pursuits were overshadowed by his notoriety as a prominent member of the Black Axe confraternity. His reputation preceded him, and his name was often whispered in awe by his peers. However, Sympathy's life took an unexpected turn when he made the decision to leave Polytechnic Nekuda and transfer to Imo State University. The reasons behind this sudden change remained shrouded in mystery, known only to Sympathy himself. Speculation swirled among his acquaintances, with some attributing the move to personal reasons, while others whispered about the trials and tribulations he had faced during his time at Polytechnic Nekuda. As Sympathy navigated his new academic environment at Imo State University, he adopted a drastically different approach to his social life. Gone was the swaggering confidence of his Polytechnic Nekuda days. Instead, Sympathy opted to maintain a remarkably low profile. He rarely associated with his fellow Black Axe members, and his involvement with the confraternity was barely perceptible to outsiders. This deliberate withdrawal from the spotlight led some Black Axe members at Imo State University to remain unaware of Sympathy's affiliation with the group. Rumors circulated among insiders, suggesting that Sympathy's decision to lie low was a direct response to the challenges he had faced during his time at Polytechnic Nekuda. It was alleged that his high profile had made him a target for the Vikings confraternity, who had frequently clashed with the Black Axe. These conflicts had supposedly taken a toll on Sympathy's academic pursuits, as he found himself constantly looking over his shoulder, anticipating potential threats. The pressure had become overwhelming, ultimately prompting Sympathy to seek a fresh start at Imo State University. As Sympathy settled into his new life, he seemed determined to leave his tumultuous past behind. His newfound anonymity allowed him to focus on his studies, and he gradually began to rebuild his life, free from the burdens of his previous reputation. Yet, whispers of his past exploits continued to circulate, a reminder that, despite his best efforts, Sympathy's history was never far behind. Sympathy's decision to transfer from Federal Polytechnic to Imo State University had initially provided him with a much-needed reprieve. As a new face on campus, he was able to shed his old skin and start anew, unencumbered by the burdens of his past reputation. The constant looking over his shoulder, the pressure to always identify publicly with his fellow Black Axe members, all of these weights had been lifted, allowing Sympathy to focus on his studies and rebuild his life. However, as time would reveal, this decision would ultimately prove to be a fatal mistake. In the world of confraternity wars, the lines between physical and spiritual battles are often blurred. The Vikings and Black Axe, two rival confraternities, had been embroiled in a brutal and bloody conflict at Imo State University. The year was 2015, and the campus was a war zone, with both sides engaging in relentless attacks and counterattacks. The body count was rising, and the atmosphere was tense with anticipation. Sympathy, aware of the ongoing war, had chosen to keep a low profile, believing that his new status as a student at Imo State University would shield him from detection. He attended his lectures, went about his daily routine, and avoided public involvement with his fellow Black Axe members. But, as fate would have it, his attempts to fly under the radar would ultimately prove to be in vain. One fateful day, Sympathy's luck ran out. As he entered his lecture hall, a group of Vikings spotted him, their eyes narrowing as they recognized the former notorious Black Axe member. Without hesitation, they quickly alerted their hit squad, who lay in wait outside the school's front gate. Sympathy, oblivious to the danger lurking nearby, attended his lecture, unaware that his life was about to take a drastic turn. As he exited the lecture hall and made his way out of the school gate, Sympathy's instincts began to stir. He caught sight of the Viking hit squad approaching him, their intentions clear. With a burst of adrenaline, Sympathy took off in a sprint, racing towards the student market within the university's front gate. But, in a cruel twist of fate, other Viking members were already positioned in the market, waiting for him. They pounced, grabbing Sympathy and holding him in a vice-like grip. The hit squad, hot on his heels, quickly caught up, and in a split second, Sympathy's life was extinguished. A bullet tore through his face, and he crumpled to the ground, his body broken and battered. The once promising student, who had sought to escape his troubled past, lay motionless, his life cut short in a senseless act of violence. The campus, once a place of learning and growth, had become a battleground, claiming another victim in the endless cycle of confraternity wars. The circumstances surrounding the Vikings' ability to identify Sympathy as a Black Axe member remained shrouded in mystery. Despite his efforts to keep a low profile and adopt a new, more affable persona, Sympathy's true affiliations had somehow been exposed. The question on everyone's mind was, how had the Vikings managed to uncover his secret? Was it a case of betrayal from within? Had someone close to Sympathy, perhaps a fellow student or even a friend, revealed his true identity to the Vikings? Or was it simply a matter of coincidence, with someone who had known Sympathy during his time at Federal Polytechnic recognizing him on the Imo State University campus? The truth, much like Sympathy's own fate, remained elusive. One thing was certain, however: Sympathy's attempts to blend in and avoid drawing attention to himself had ultimately proved unsuccessful. His jovial and friendly demeanor, which had become a hallmark of his new persona, had not been enough to shield him from the dangers that lurked in the shadows. As the news of Sympathy's tragic demise spread like wildfire across the campus, many couldn't help but wonder how such a seemingly innocuous individual had become embroiled in the deadly world of confraternity politics. The answer, much like Sympathy himself, was gone, leaving behind only whispers, speculation, and the haunting question: what had really led to his downfall? Let's stand together against the destructive forces of cultism. Say no to cultism and yes to a brighter, safer future. Cultism leads to violence, fear, and destruction, but together we can create a culture of peace, love, and respect. Make the right choice, reject cultism, and let's build a better world for ourselves and future generations.